More than 2,000 years ago, during the missing years of Jesus, it is believed that Jesus found himself in Jagannath in India, where he reportedly encountered Mahavatar Babaji. It was during this encounter that Babaji initiated Jesus into the practice of Kriya Yoga. This same Mahavatar Babaji would later go on to initiate Lahiri Mahasaya in the year 1861. Lahiri, in turn, would become the spiritual guide for Sri Priya Yukswar Giri, who would ultimately become the guru of Paramhansa Yogananda. Yogananda, renowned in the Western world as the author of Autobiography of a Yogi, was encouraged by Sri Yukswar to relocate to California and introduce the science of yogic union with God to the Western audience. Through this, the practicality of the Western world merged harmoniously with the spirituality of the East, fulfilling the vision that Babaji had originally shared with Lahiri Mahasaya during their meeting in 1861. It was through Yogananda's book that Mahavatar Babaji gained widespread fame. From 1861 to 1953, another sadhu known as Harayakan Baba appeared throughout North India to the Himalayas. Many individuals began to believe that he was the same Mahavatar Babaji. Another Harayakan Babaji emerged from 1970 until his passing in 1984, also claiming to be the Mahavatar Babaji. Astonishingly, even today, there are reports of people claiming to have encountered him, suggesting that he is at least 2,000 years. When asked about his age, Babaji has provided different answers over time. In the late 1800s, when questioned by Pranabhananda Giri, Lahiri's disciple, Babaji asserted that he was 500 years old at that particular moment. On another occasion, he mentioned that he had lived for 5 kalpas, with a kalpa in Hindu and Buddhist cosmology representing the time taken for the universe to undergo creation and destruction, amounting to billions of years. In the book, Babaji and the 18 Siddha Kriya Yoga Tradition, by Marshal Govindan, Babaji revealed to the author that he was born in the year 203 CE. However, during a divine revelation to Drive N. Rajgopal, an astrologist, Babaji disclosed that he was born in 562 BC. Throughout his appearances over the centuries, Babaji has consistently been described as a youth, possessing a radiant complexion, with long hair and an alluring fragrance that emits naturally from his body. Moreover, he is often reported to have no need for food or drink and is attributed with miraculous powers. Notably, he seems to be able to appear and disappear at will or even appear in multiple locations simultaneously. One of the earliest encounters with Babaji was documented by one of his most significant disciples, the renowned saint and yogi, Sri Shyama Charan Lahiri Mahasaya, 1828–1895. By the age of 33, Lahiri Mahasaya had received a comprehensive education, entered into matrimony, secured a government position, and was leading a conventional life. However, his life was about to go through a profound transformation when he received specific instructions to report to the city of Raniket, nestled at the base of the majestic Himalayan peak, Nanda Devi. Upon arriving in this picturesque region, he found himself captivated by the sheer beauty of the Himalayan foothills and spent his evenings enthusiastically exploring the rugged mountain terrain. One fateful day, during one of his hikes, he was inexplicably drawn to follow a voice calling his name. This mystical call led him to a clearing surrounded by small caves, where he came face to face with a man he would later come to name Mahavatar Babaji. Despite Lahiri's initial lack of recognition, Babaji warmly greeted him by name, sparking an immediate, unexplainable connection within Lahiri's being. In an astonishing revelation, Babaji disclosed that in Lahiri's previous life, he had served as his guru, with Lahiri as his devoted disciple. Together, they had dedicated decades to profound meditation within one of the nearby caves. With a gentle touch to Lahiri's forehead, Babaji rekindled his memories of their shared past life. Then, through his divine power, Babaji induced the highest state of samadhi, known as the Nirvikalpa state, within Lahiri. In this transcendent state, individual consciousness seamlessly merged with the universal ocean of consciousness, leading to the attainment of cosmic consciousness. Lahiri remained in this unbroken samadhi state for 7 transformative days. Babaji conveyed to Lahiri that he had reincarnated with a purpose, to disseminate the teachings of yogic union with God beyond the borders of India. This mission was ultimately realized through Lahiri's direct disciple's disciple, Paramhansa Yogananda, who introduced the Kriya Yoga system to the United States and beyond. During the 1894 Kumbh Mela in Allahabad, Sri Yukswar Giri, disciple of Lahiri and guru of Yogananda, had a significant encounter with Mahavatar Babaji. What deeply struck him was the remarkable resemblance between Lahiri Mahasaya and Mahavatar Babaji. It was during this specific meeting that Mahavatar Babaji conveyed a crucial instruction to Sri Yukswar. He was to compose the book that would later be renowned as Kavalya Darshanam, or the Holy Science. Sri Yukswar had the privilege of meeting Babaji 2 more times, one of which took place in the presence of Lahiri Mahasaya. Prior to Paramhansa Yogananda's journey to the United States, Babaji also appeared before him, explicitly designating him as the chosen one to propagate Kriya teachings in the West. Several other disciples of Lahiri Mahasaya also had the extraordinary experience of encountering Babaji. These included Keshabananda, who who encountered Babaji while lost in the mountains around Badrinath, Dunagiri, and Ram Gopal Muzumdar. In his autobiography, Paramhansa Yogananda described Mahavatar Babaji's pivotal role on earth. He emphasized that Babaji maintains constant communion with Christ, and together, they emit vibrations of redemption while strategizing the spiritual methodology for salvation in this era. The mission of these two fully illuminated masters, one in physical form and the other beyond it, is to inspire nations to abandon self-destructive wars, racial animosity, religious divisions, and the negative repercussions of materialism. Babaji possesses profound awareness of the contemporary world's trajectory, especially the complexities and influence of Western civilization. He recognizes the necessity of disseminating the liberating teachings of yoga both in the West and the East. What little information we possess about Babaji's early life is primarily derived from the revelations made by Babaji himself to two individuals, Saa Ramaya, a student of geology at the University of Madras, and Sri V.T. Nilkantan, a journalist. Babaji appeared separately to these individuals and later brought them together in 1942 to collaborate on his mission, gradually unveiling fragments of his early life. As per the accounts provided by Babaji, he was born on November 30, 203 AD, in a modest coastal village named Paranjapetai in Tamil Nadu. He was given the name Nagaraja, signifying the Serpent King. Nagaraja's father served as the priest at the temple dedicated to Muruga or Kartikeya, the eldest son of Lord Shiva, which was situated next to their home. His father had fervently prayed for Kartikeya to be born as his son, and his prayers were answered when the Lord incarnated as Nagaraja. At the tender age of 5, an unfortunate incident occurred when Nagaraja was purportedly kidnapped and subsequently sold into slavery to a shopkeeper in Calcutta. Fortunately, his owner turned out to be a compassionate man who released him, advising him to go wherever he desired. The young boy found his way into the company of a group of wandering yogis who were deeply devoted to God. The luminous spirituality radiating from their beings captivated Nagaraja, compelling him to follow their path. For the ensuing 10 years, Nagaraja embarked on a nomadic journey across the Indian subcontinent alongside these yogis. During this time, he diligently studied the sacred scriptures of Hinduism, delving into the profound wisdom contained in texts such as the Vedas, Upanishads, and Puranas. At the age of 15, Nagaraja accompanied the ascetics to the southern coast of India, reaching the village of Dhanushkodi, which lies closest to the island of Sri Lanka. From there, they embarked on a boat journey to Sri Lanka, proceeding on foot to the sacred city of Kathargama, located in the northern part of the island. This pilgrimage was considered arduous, and only yogis with deep spiritual insight could navigate the path to this holy shrine. Remarkably, Nagaraja encountered no difficulties on this journey, for he possessed an innate knowledge that he needed to reach this place, as it was where he had incarnated in a previous life. Kathargama, often referred to as Dakshina Kailasa or the Kailasa of the South, is a revered destination visited by many great siddhas, perfected souls who had seamlessly merged their essence with the infinite, supreme power that pervades the universe. Kartikeya, who initially resided in Mount Kailash in the north with his parents, Lord Shiva and Parvati, descended to Kathargama in the south, an allegory for the descent of spirit into the material world. It was in Kathargama that Kartikeya met and wedded Vali, a tribal girl. In Kathargama, there is no physical idol of Kartikeya. Instead, the temple's sanctum sanctorum houses a small casket containing the Shatkona Yentra, a mystic design composed of two interlocking triangles. The two interlocking triangles in the Yentra correspond to the 6 cardinal points of space, symbolizing the six-faced Kartikeya, the Lord of Space. He is the conscious presence residing at the source and center of our three-dimensional world. Kartikeya, in his Nada Bindu form, representing the form of letters and sound, is enshrined within this Yentra. Until relatively recent times, the sole means of reaching Kathargama was on foot, traversing thick equatorial jungles inhabited by snakes and wild animals. Only the fearless and faithful could undertake this perilous journey and return safely. Today, however, the town is accessible by road, and most people prefer safer modes of travel. Yet, a few individuals continue to follow the ancient trail on foot, including Tamil Hindus who make an annual pilgrimage from the southern part of Sri Lanka to the Kathargama temple. To this day, Kathargama is believed to be an extraordinary place with an atmosphere imbued with mystery and magic. Countless miraculous events are said to take place here. During his time at Kathargama, Nagaraja met his guru, Bhaganatha, a renowned siddha, confirming the divine guidance that had led him to this sacred location. Bhoganathar was the grandson of the famous immortal siddha Thirumolar. Under Bhaganatha's tutelage, Nagaraja embarked on an intensive regimen of sadhana, or spiritual practice, which extended over a considerable duration. Bhaganatha imparted to Nagaraja a multitude of powers, including the closely guarded secret of Kaya Kalpa. This technique, revered in the yogic tradition, enables the preservation of the physical body in a youthful state for millennia. It is through the practice of Kaya Kalpa that Babaji, despite the advancement of his age through centuries, continues to manifest as a youth. The culmination of Nagaraja's dedicated practice was marked by a profound vision and realization that he was an incarnation of Karthikeya. Following this period of intense spiritual training, Bhagwanatha directed Nagaraja to proceed to Kutralam in Tamil Nadu, where the great sage Agastya, his teacher, resided. Agastya was one of the 7 Saptarishis, 7 sages sent by Lord Shiva to establish Hinduism. Nagaraja embarked on a journey to Kutralam on foot, and upon his arrival, he made a solemn commitment to remain at this place until Agastya initiated him into the profound secrets of yoga. In his unwavering determination, Babaji adopted a suitable asana and began fervently praying for the appearance of the revered sage. During this time, he received sustenance from the occasional pilgrims who passed by. Despite facing the harsh forces of nature, including rain, scorching sunshine, dust, and insect bites, Babaji never wavered from his chosen spot. On the 48th day of this intense spiritual endeavor, when he was on the verge of physical and mental exhaustion, Babaji fervently and repeatedly invoked the name of the sage Agastya. In a remarkable telepathic connection, the message swiftly reached the sage, prompting Agastya to reveal himself to Babaji. It was during this sacred encounter that Agastya initiated Nagaraja into the profound practice of Kriya Kundalini Pranayama, also known as Vasi Yogam. This potent breathing technique serves as a key to unlocking higher states of consciousness and spiritual realization. Agastya directed Nagaraja to embark on a solitary spiritual journey to the renowned Himalayan temple of Badrinath. In the Srimad Bhagavad Purana, Lord Krishna had advised his disciple Adhava to visit Badrinath as Krishna had foretold that after his death, he would be found exclusively at Badrinath. Interestingly, Nagaraja's birth date and time coincided with the ascendancy, nakshatra, of the star of Rohini, under which Krishna was also born. Situated in the high Himalayan regions along the banks of the Ganga, known as Alagananda, this temple is one of the 4 Char Dhams, considered one of the holiest sites in India. The idol of Lord Vishnu within is said to bear an uncanny resemblance to Babaji. Additionally, a painting of a yogi in the temple strongly corresponds to the descriptions of Babaji. Even today, inhabitants living there year-round claim to have seen this yogi around Badrinath. In fact, it is widely believed that Babaji resided even today in the vicinity of Gauri Shankara Peetham near Badrinath. This location is known to encompass mysterious hidden caves that elude the human eye. These caves are surrounded by sheer rock cliffs on all 4 sides, with a row of caves situated at their base. Of these caves, the largest and most significant one is attributed to Babaji himself. In a corner opposite Babaji's cave, 2 waterfalls grace the landscape. The residents of the ashram utilize the largest waterfall for bathing purposes, while the smaller one serves as a source of drinking water. What is particularly intriguing is that, despite the absence of any visible light source, the entire area remains well illuminated both day and night. Another enigmatic aspect of this location is the presence of a protective boundary that prevents anyone from approaching the ashram closer than a mile. If anyone unknowingly ventures too close, a resounding voice is said to be heard, warning them not to approach the ashram. Consequently, no one can enter the ashram without the explicit permission of Babaji. The ashram is not inhabited by Babaji alone, it is said to be home to a diverse group of residents. Notably, Babaji's sister, some even suggest she might be a second cousin, known as Mataji, which translates to Holy Mother, has attained a level of spiritual realization comparable to her brothers. Besides Babaji and Mataji, other residents include several men characterized by their long beards, a former Muslim ruler, a Western lady, a 10-year-old girl, and Swami Pranabhananda, also known as Aman, the saint with 2 bodies. Each of these individuals is regarded as a sage or saint who has purportedly lived for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. At Badrinath, Nagaraja undertook a dedicated practice that incorporated the teachings of both Bhagwanatha and Agastya for 18 months before achieving the status of a Siddha. It was during this transformative phase that he came to be known as Baba Brahmananda. Since becoming a deathless Siddha, Mahavatar Babaji has initiated numerous saints and sadhus throughout the ages, who in turn have many disciples. His direct disciples include significant figures like Adi Shankaracharya, the 9th century Hindu reformer, and Kabir, the 15th century saint revered by both Hindus and Muslims. In more recent times, in his autobiography titled Apprentice to a Himalayan Master, Sri M., a disciple of Sri Maheshwarnath Babaji, himself a disciple of Mahavatar Babaji, had a profound encounter with Mahavatar Babaji on Nilkantha Hill near Badrinath. This encounter likely occurred in the late 1960s or early 1970s, during which Mahavatar Babaji revealed himself as an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Who do you think Mahavatar Babaji is truly an incarnation of, Karthikeya, Krishna, Shiva, or all 3? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. For those who aspire to connect with the energy of Mahavatar Babaji, one of the most accessible ways is to visit the cave where he initiated Lahiri in 1861. This cave is now recognized as Mahavatar Babaji's cave and is situated near Dwarhat in the Kemao district of Uttarakhand. In the future, I plan to create separate videos on Siddhas and their city powers, as well as explore the stories of the two Hurricane Babaji figures who are both believed to be the same Mahavatar Babaji. To stay updated, please like and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss these upcoming videos.